I've had to charge my phone 3 times today because I've been constantly refreshing and constantly checking because Ryan Poles has been one busy man since 9 a.m. this morning. Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus are already making moves to their 53-man roster that they established yesterday at 3 p.m. This is recording exactly at 3 p.m. on Wednesday, August 31st. And man, they had a chance to start making their practice squad and making some roster adjustments already, and they took full advantage of it since teams were releasing their players yesterday and they were able to start picking them up today. Some names that made the roster are already on the move. Some names that I thought would make the practice squad are already coming back, and some unfortunately aren't coming back. So a lot of news today for the Chicago Bears. I'm here to bring it all to you. But before we begin on all that information, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, BetStamp. BetStamp is a mobile and web-based platform in the sports betting space, built for people looking to take sports betting seriously. BetStamp solves the problems serious sports bettors face on a daily basis by providing them information and tools they need to succeed, such as tracking their record, seeing the best odds across sportsbook within their state or region, and interacting with other top bettors to see how they make their moves. Download today on the Google or App Store, or use your own web browser. Use referral code JSHY, that's JAYCHI, to get in on the action when you sign up. And make sure to follow me, Chicago Nick. BetStamp is an analytical platform that you can download on your phone, or iPhone, Android, computer, tablet, you name it. You can download it there. It helps show the best odds for your sports books in your area. Make sure that you go sign up at the link in the description. Use code JAYCHI and follow me, Chicago Nick. Put all your bets together. Let me know if you signed up. It's a really great platform. I would love for you guys to check it out because I have done very well thanks to having the best odds on all my games that I bet on. But let's go into the crazy day that Ryan Poles has had today. Very excited to bring it to you guys. Going to start on the offensive side of the ball about the players that the Bears have brought back that they waived yesterday. So the Bears brought back quarterback Nathan Peterman. Peterman came to Chicago this past offseason, has been in the NFL since 2017. The reason the Chicago Bears made this move, they only had 2 quarterbacks on the active roster. I called this out yesterday, but you need to have more than that, especially with the Bears, state of the offensive line of unsure how they're going to perform this year. But Poles saves a roster spot by placing Nathan Peterman on the practice squad, and a quarterback who has been learning Luke Getsy's offense is always a big pro. Another guy he brought back was undrafted rookie free agent out of Iowa State, Chase Allen. Was a captain at Iowa State this past season, is a very strong physically player, also good overall football player. He's 6'7", 250, built a lot like Cole Kmet. And I think Poles wanted to keep him, but had tougher choices to make on the rest of the roster. I like Poles bringing him back due to the learning the offense and having a lot of good potential, but also with Ryan Griffin, the veteran tight end that did make this roster, one of the only other tight end that made this roster with Cole Kmet on a 1-year deal. It's good that Chase Allen is in Hallis Hall, learning this offense, learning from Luke Getsy, and could be a good pairing for the future to come if Ryan Griffin doesn't stay next season, and could be good with Cole Kmet. Running back Darrynton Evans is back in Chicago on the practice squad. The former 2020 third-round pick for the Titans is coming back for Chicago on the practice squad. Bears had too many running backs in the room with Ebner, Monty, and Herbert. This is a way that one of those guys, if they go down, which hopefully they don't, but it is football. Injuries do happen if it does. They have a guy who has a lot of potential still on the roster and that can still get reps with the offense during practice during the week. Another guy coming back is center Dieter Eiselen. Has been with the Bears since 2020. Former Yale lineman, was undrafted by the Chicago Bears back in 2020. He has been a solid depth piece for this team over the last few seasons. He's been mainly a practice squad player, been flexed in and out of the offensive line. But overall, the Bears liked him. Ryan Poles sees a lot of potential in him. He's a good person to have, considering we only have 2 centers on the roster. One of them is on IR. So the 2 centers are Lucas Patrick, Sam Mustipher. Doug Kramer is currently on IR. Always good to have that third guy backed up, ready to go. Another guy is wide receiver Isaiah Coulter, 23 years old, 6'2", 198. Bigger bodied wide receiver that has good connection, has had a very good connection with Justin Fields so far this preseason in camp. He attended Rhode Island, but I like that the Bears kept him because it is key to have a good connection with Justin Fields. That has been the whole thing for Ryan Poles, is finding target, and Luke Getsy is finding targets that are going to make Justin Fields be better, make him feel comfortable. And clearly we saw that this entire preseason in camp, we saw that connection between the two, and they're going to make some things very special if they are to connect again. But it's good to have him on the practice squad to start things off, because the Bears do have 7 wide receivers in the room. One of them being N'Keal Harry, who is not on IR with a severe injury. Still unexpected of when he will come back, but very excited to see what Coulter does if he gets the call up, and happy that he is on the depth chart and on this roster. 2 guys are expected to be picked up. It hasn't been confirmed if they have been signed or not, but wide receiver Nsimba Webster, if the Bears 100% re-sign him, it will be strictly for special teams. Webster is a speedster that came to Chicago last year to help fill in when the Bears weren't sure who the return man was going to be. Crazy fast, with special teamers going down constantly, big hits, not calling fair catches, and just awkward tackles. Good person to have around on your roster, especially knowing the organization. Another guy that is expected to be back in Chicago on the offensive line, that has been with Chicago for a couple years now, is offensive lineman Lactavious Simmons. Simmons was drafted in 2020 by the Chicago Bears out of Tennessee State. Knows the offense, knows the team, and overall is someone you want to bring back that can make an impact quickly if needed. A couple players that the Bears picked up from the waiver wire today so far. One that I know a lot of people are excited about, that has a low risk, very high reward, is offensive lineman Alex Leatherwood from the Las Vegas Raiders. Former 2021 first round pick, did not work out in Las Vegas, unfortunately. I personally wanted him last year if the Bears did not get Justin Fields. During his time in Las Vegas, he struggled at the right tackle position. The Bears will have to cover the rest of his contract, which is 3 years, $5.9 million, which isn't a small chunk of change, but still some money, a big cap hit that, for a guy that's on the practice squad as of right now. Bears could flux him with someone else in order to put him on the active roster. But as always said, a change of scenery, coaches may be the best reset that he could have, that needs in order for the best player he can be and live up to that first round potential. So welcome to Chicago. Excited to have him. Another offensive lineman that the Bears went out and picked up off the waiver wire today was offensive lineman Kellen Diesch from the Miami Dolphins. He signed this past season from Arizona State University with Miami. He was a second team all Pac-12 in 2021 for the Sun Devils. And the reason why a lot of teams like him is he has really good footwork and overall body control as a lineman. But he is 6'7", but he's only 301 pounds. So his grip's a little bit not there. His strength isn't as strong as some of these smaller, more compact defensive linemen. So needs to learn his strength, needs to put on some muscle. Ryan Poles sees a lot of potential in him, and happy to have him in Chicago. Another guy that is a tight end, but likely will be more of a fullback position for the Chicago Bears if needed, will be tight end Trevon Wesco from the New York Jets. Big man, 6'3", but 267 pounds. He is built like a tank. That is why I think they're going to put him at fullback. Only 26 years old, coming from the Jets. He's had nothing flashy, but his big body could block well for Chicago. And I see him getting called up if something were to happen. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball today. All this information, again, is from Brad Biggs. If I didn't say that before, I am sorry about that. But all this information is from Brad Biggs. So thank you for him for reporting on this information. Bears brought back defensive lineman Trevon Coley. He had a monster preseason for the Chicago Bears. He had 3 sacks this preseason, along with 6 quarterback hits, 2 pass deflections, and 3 tackles for loss. A lot of people were shocked at first that the Bears got rid of him, but again, the Bears were luckily able to go back and pick him up quickly. Very happy about him getting him back. I could see the Bears flexing him back and forth on the roster this upcoming season. But again, had a monster preseason, was with the twos, but overall excited to have him back. Cornerback Thomas Graham Jr. is coming back to Chicago. I know a lot of Bears Nation wanted this to happen. Graham Jr. unfortunately suffered a leg injury during camp. It did not see a lot of playing time, but he had a very strong second half last season when the Bears did call him up from the practice squad last season. And there's a lot of potential for Thomas Graham Jr. He is liked by a lot of fans, and I think that he's going to do great things when called upon. Good to have him on the practice squad. Another guy coming back is defensive lineman Sam Kamara. Kamara was a top 5 defensive lineman according to PPF ratings during the preseason this year. Camaro had flashes last season on this team with the ability to play edge and sometimes interior defensive tackle. Good locker room guy to have, but a lot of room for growth. Maybe good to put him on the practice squad, continue to get him a little stronger, a little faster, understand the NFL speed more. And then maybe next year he'll be able to make that 53-man roster. Expected to re-sign with the Chicago or be claimed by the Chicago Bears is linebacker Marquis Gates. Veteran linebacker that was waived yesterday by Chicago, could have the depth at linebacker at all levels. It's always good to have in the Chicago Bears organization. And the Bears were able to pick him up and put him on the practice squad. He's played for 3 separate NFL teams so far in his career, the Browns, Vikings, and Redskins. Showed some flashes during the preseason. Excited to have him back on the practice squad. Another one expected to re-sign or sign with the Bears or claimed by the Bears. Wow, a lot of words, same meaning, is defensive lineman Micah Dew-Treadway, Bolingbrook kid. Happy to see him join the Chicago or with the Chicago Bears and come back to the Chicago Bears if he 100% does sign. 7 total college seasons for him. 4 with Notre Dame, where he originally started. The last 3 have been with Minnesota in the Big Ten. He was a Big Ten captain for Minnesota, 6'4", 315. He is big and strong for an interior defensive lineman. He has showed a lot of flashes. I know that a lot of people are like, wait, Nick, you totally went over the fact that he played 7 seasons of college. Well, that's just how COVID was an impact for him. Change of scenery. Didn't get a lot of playing time at Notre Dame, but made an impact for the Minnesota Gophers. So happy to see him coming to his hometown team. Hopefully he is 100% a Bears fan, or else that'd be a little awkward. Let's go quickly through who the Bears picked up. The number one guy that I am so happy that the Bears went and got, and I think they're going to put him on the 53-man roster, is Armon Watts, defensive lineman, claimed from the Minnesota Vikings, NFC North pickup. Honestly, what a pickup by Ryan Poles. 5 sacks in 2021 for Minnesota, along with 2 forced fumbles. Mean defensive lineman who knows the NFC North and knows the hatred toward the green guys up north. Not sure if he'll stay on the practice squad again for too long, but I love this pickup by Poles. Another guy that the Bears picked up today was Josh Blackwell from the Philadelphia Eagles, rookie from Duke. I think the only reason why they got him, 4.33 40 time. Super fast, keep up with defenders, likely going to be a special teams guy. Another guy that Ryan Poles went out and picked up today from the Indianapolis Colts is linebacker Sterling Weatherford, who was a teammate with Dominique Robinson from Miami of Ohio. 3rd team All-MAC last year, 6'4", big linebacker with 66 tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 sack, and 10 pass breakups in his last season in college. Can also play defensive, a very big defensive back position. Good to have that depth. Obviously, he knows Dominique Robinson, could already have that teammate connection there. Happy to see him coming to Chicago. Finally, defensive end Kingsley Jonathan from the Buffalo Bills, 6'4", 260, the undrafted rookie free agent from Syracuse. Did not work out with the Buffalo Bills, but the Bears went out and got him, are likely going to put him on the practice squad. Topic number 3 today, an unfortunate topic that always stinks to talk about, but players waived or placed on IR over the last 24 hours. To start off, my biggest shock is defensive lineman Kyries Tonga, who was drafted out of BYU last year. Shocked that the Bears did not keep this guy. Really shocked because he showed a lot of promise last year, struggled this preseason. Not totally shocked. It's just like an optimistic thing, a fan thing. I've always been a fan of him. Was originally on the 53-man roster, though, was waived earlier today after the Bears picked up some of the names from above through waiver wire. I could see maybe the Bears trying to bring him back on the practice squad later in the season, if not already has. Again, we started recording at 3 o'clock, but man, stinks to see him go. I hope that the Bears end up somehow being able to bring him back. Checking really quickly for you guys, but overall, Tonga is gone, unfortunately, for now. So stay tuned for that. Offensive lineman Zachary Thomas is also being waived today, was drafted this past year by Ryan Poles. Struggled at times during the preseason. Again, a rookie. Unfortunately, did not work out this go around, but the Bears still could go out and get him and bring him to the practice squad, depending on the more moves that they do. So make sure you stay tuned for that, but best of luck to him. Quarterback Duke Shelley was released today, or waived today. Has been with Chicago since 2019, was a former 6th-round pick. Started mainly with special teams, got some playing time last season on the defensive side of the ball. He started 4 of the 10 games he appeared in last year with 37 tackles. Not bad, not great. Wasn't stats to able to keep him on the roster, but best of luck to him. Linebacker Caleb Johnson was also waived today, played 14 games last year with the Chicago Bears, mainly as a rookie. Best of luck to him. A shocker was honestly the release of linebacker Joe Thomas. He was picked up by the Chicago Bears this past offseason, did really well while Roquan Smith was out. He's been in the league since 2014, but he's kind of a journeyman. He's been all over the league these past, 8 seasons. He did bounce around a ton, but never really established himself. Best of luck to him as well. And then the 2 IR guys that I'm going to hit on quickly today, one of them being JJ Sharp. According to Brad Biggs, the team never announced what was wrong with Sharp, but he was described as day-to-day. Interesting move by Ryan Poles. And then finally, defensive back Tavon Young. This one everyone was kind of shocked by because he came to Chicago last season from Baltimore, wasn't ever injured, but the Bears put him on IR, and he even tweeted today that he's like, I don't really understand it. So it seems like there was a miscommunication between him and the team. Hopefully things get figured out. We'll have all the updates here for you guys along with our social media. But that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Dick Brody. Stay tuned for all updates, and we'll see you guys next time.